Suburban Station, Philadelphia. Gonna have a treat here, hopefully. Gonna ride on this one-car Silverliner 5, number 722, on the Cynwyd line, Septa's shortest regional railroad, much maligned, often threatened with discontinued. Discontinued during COVID and revived last summer. This is the old Pennsylvania Railroad Schuylkill branch. And right here on track 7 we have an ACS 64 at Septa. It's like it's shut down. Alright, we're about 9 minutes late. We'll go out of here at noon, which is 12:09. Leaving Suburban Station. Heading for a nice little short ride to Cynwyd, Pennsylvania. Climbing up a stiff grade, heading for the upper level of 30th Street Station. It's been a long time since I've ridden this line. Last time I rode this line was probably back in the 70s. I rode it as far as Manayunk. This line was originally the PRR Schuylkill branch. It was electrified as far as Norristown, and it was cut back in 1960 to Manayunk. And then they extended it one stop further in 1980 to Ivy Ridge, and then they cut it back in 1986 to Cynwyd due to track conditions and structural problems with the Schuylkill River Bridge. It's a far cry from what it once was. Extremely low patronage on this Septa Regional Railroad. This doesn't surprise me since this train only has one car. They only run a handful of trains a day. I like 3 a.m. rush hour trains, a couple of midday trains, 3 p.m. rush hour trains. Letting someone off here. That Stone Arch Bridge you see in the background is the West Philadelphia Elevated Branch. Freight trains use it. Years ago, the Army Navy trains use it to the stadium.
How you doing?
Good, how are you? Got lots of room on this train. Only 2 of us, plus the crew. There's a Keystone train down there. It's part of zoo interlocking here. We're heading west on the line to Paoli and Thorndale, but we won't be going very far on it. Got an approach medium coming up. What I'm really happy about is that on the last 2 trains, this one and the Fox Chase, they didn't rope off the second row. It's open. Get a much better view from here. Well, if they're worried about COVID and overcrowding, you don't have to worry about it on this train. The track on the left that's coming up, that's the Pittsburgh subway. That's what that's called. The Pennsylvania Railroad trains from New York to Chicago and St. Louis used to use that track to bypass 30th Street. Years ago, we would have gone straight ahead on that viaduct, but they severed it. It's the 52nd Street Viaduct. Now we're going off to the right. We got a medium clear here. This line was always a lightly traffic line because of the short distance that it travels. And when it went to Manayunk, it was like route duplication because the Reading Company also went to Manayunk. And Reading got most of the business, it seemed. And prior to them dismantling the electrification service from Manayunk to Norristown in 1960, you had this Pennsy line and the Reading paralleling each other from Manayunk to Norristown. So somebody had to win and somebody had to lose. In this case, it was the Pennsy. When you ride the Norristown line on Septa Regional Rail beyond Manayunk, you can see the remnants of the Pennsy catenary poles from that electrification. Okay, here we're veering off at like 52nd Street. There used to be a station here on the main line and served this line too, 52nd Street, but that was closed. On the left is the Philadelphia bound track, but for the most part it's a one-track railroad. The line from from Cynwyd, that's a Welsh name. A lot of people call it Cynwyd, but that's wrong. It's pronounced with a C like the word cut. Cynwyd. Line from Cynwyd up to Ivy Ridge has been turned into a rail trail. The Schuylkill River hiking trail runs along the right-of-way of the old Pennsy up to Norristown and beyond. It's just one track. You can see grading where the second track used to be. This used to be a very busy line back in the day. Used to go up to Norristown with electric trains and beyond up to Reading and Pottsville, and lost out to the Reading Company. station is Winfield. This area is where comedian slash actor Will Smith comes from. Commerce is few and far between on this line. There you can see the Pennsylvania Railroad style catenary poles here. Big high poles with lots of insulators hanging. You'd think this was a Northeast corridor. Far from it. Station coming up is Bala. The high platform is where the second track used to be. Back when the trains ran to Manayunk on this line, believe it or not, the routing of those trains went from Manayunk to Center City to Norristown. So when it left Manayunk, it was upstairs, and then it crossed under that same railroad, coming back to Manayunk again on the Reading tracks. It passed under the bridge where the Pennsy Manayunk station was. So it went around in a big circle. If you climbed to the top of the viaduct in Manayunk and you were too lazy to walk down the stairs to the Reading station, you just rode the train directly via Philadelphia. Or if you were too lazy to climb up from the Reading station to the Pennsy station, just ride the train to Manayunk PRR. Coming to the end of the line, Cynwyd. This station has a low platform. Oh yeah. Here we are, another Welsh name. And we'll be sitting here a few minutes. He goes back at 12:36, back to Suburban Station. Car 722, one of those single cars, have a cab on both ends. This car's been running around on this Bala Cynwyd service quite a bit. And this is what the old Pennsylvania Railroad track is today from here. The Cynwyd Heritage Trail. And there's the trail right there, and somebody's taking advantage of it. It's a nice day. It's in the mid-40s. And here's a trail marker at the beginning of the trail. It starts right here. Glad to have finally ridden on this line. And head back to Philly. Here comes the Pennsylvanian from Pittsburgh. And we're back at 30th Street. Just got off this little train. Took a nice ride out to Cynwyd. It's a short, lightly patronized, much maligned, but it's very historic. A lot of history in this line from what it used to be. There he goes. Heading back to Suburban Station, where he'll sit until he makes another run later this afternoon. Love those horns.